Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Book of Many Things every chapter. So I've been doing a chapter by chapter breakdown. By the way, I'm going to start trying to remind you guys more. I have the most extensive, exhaustive list of Dungeons and Dragons playlists covering a broader range of topics, and frankly, I think more topics than literally any content creator on any social media site. I'm coming up on 7,000 videos, and truly, just based on the structure of the way I make content, I literally think I have the most extensive list of playlists in the description below. Just click on the playlist. I think you'll be astounded at the amount of playlists that are there, and they really cover an incredibly wide range of content on Dungeons and Dragons. But what I want to, so I have, one playlist where I'm covering BOMT, Book of Many Things, new D&D Canon hardback, and I'm covering it chapter by chapter, right? But what I want to talk about today is every chapter. It's just every chapter, which is, let's get into this. So I think Book of Many Things is a massive clue to what Dungeons and Dragons is. And I ask this question every day: what is Dungeons and Dragons? And I think what Gary Gygax created on February 7th, 1974 is so complex, and it's like a diamond. You shine a light at it and the facets just like gleam off of it, and it's difficult to see what's inside it. It's difficult to see what's created when you project light on it. I truly believe I am farther out on the understanding Dungeons and Dragons branch than anyone on the planet. I don't think anybody really understands what Dungeons and Dragons is, and I think it's an incredibly complicated thing, and my understanding of exactly what Dungeons and Dragons is, because it certainly isn't a game in my humble opinion. It never has been a game. Never is not a game now. Never will be a game. That is a fool's. Believing that Dungeons and Dragons is a game, in my humble opinion, is the activity of the deepest fools on the planet. Like, it's just, if you look at this thing, nothing like it looks like a game. It doesn't act like a game, doesn't quack like a game, it doesn't swim like a game, it doesn't game. It doesn't. It just, and increasingly, there's more and more evidence of this. It's just, I'm not even the only person saying this anymore. Ben from Questing Beast just did a video, quote, D&D is not a game, end quote, period. That's literally the name of the video, right? Like, it's not just me saying this anymore, right? So let's get on. So what do I believe Dungeons and Dragons is today? It's the first secular canon. We've had sacred texts for a long time, right? And what are sacred texts used to do? 3 things: improve, transform, save, right? Dungeons and Dragons can't do one of those, but it can do 2 of them. And actually it can, yeah. So what does Dungeons and Dragons do? It improves, it transforms, and it secures. It cannot save you. It cannot save you. It cannot give you eternal life. It cannot save you from God's wrath. But it sure as heck can improve you. It absolutely can transform you, and it can secure a lot of things on this earth for you. It is the first secular canon, right? And you're like, Scott, what are you talking about? That seems ridiculous. Pay attention now. Let's get there. Just look at Book of Many Things, right? But what has Book of Many Things done? Let's walk it through, okay? First of all, it took a intangible, magical item that existed in the Dungeons and Dragons realm, the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, and put it in the realm of Jord, the realm of Earth. It put it in our realm. It made a magical item literally physical and put it in the hands of every dungeon master and every dragon master, and immediately replaced the D20. That's huge, right? Magical item, real item, okay? Now, what is that real item copying? Tarot decks, right? If you look at the Dungeons and Dragons deck of many things, it has 22 iconic cards. I have a playlist covering every single one of them right here, like Book of Many Things, 22 iconic cards list. So you could, I can point you right to that, check in the description below. That entire playlist is right here too, right? And it's pretty deep. It's incredible what is asking of dungeon masters and dragon masters, right? The creation of this non-tarot tarot deck is pretty incredible, right? So the 22 iconic cards are literally crafted after the tarot's 22 major arcana, okay? Now, what is a real tarot deck? I'll tell you exactly what a real tarot deck is. It is a gate to divination from a supernatural power. You pull out your deck, it connects you to a supernatural power, and then you divine a person that you are reading, you divine their future. Super evil, super dangerous, supernatural, right? Like, right? Not good in any way, right? Dungeons and Dragons comes along and says, this is a sacred object, right? We're going to take it, file the spiritual serial numbers off, and now you have a useful tool. Did you follow that? Like, yeah, you know, like, so what is, so the 22 major arcanas are absolutely copied in the Dungeons and Dragons deck of many things. So you're receiving a tarot deck that's been made safe, right? Because it doesn't connect to any supernatural powers, right? And it's not used for divination. It's used for inspiration and aspiration, right? Draw from the deck. What am I inspired to do today, right? Draw from the deck. There's a goal. I can accomplish that today. Inspirational and aspirational, right? And so you have all these false sacred texts. There's only one real sacred text, 66 books of the Holy Bible. Dungeons and Dragons isn't copying that, right? But I think what it did do is it took all the rest of the sacred texts, the non-useful ones, right? The ones that won't save you, and it copied them in an aggregate, in a secular way, right? And then it delivers, and so these sacred texts are canon, other than the Holy Bible. They're canon, right? Like, to their spiritual groups, right? Well, Dungeons and Dragons comes along and says, this is a secular canon. This is a canon. This is a text that you will study for your whole life, and it will improve you, it will transform you, and it will secure things for you, in my humble opinion. So all Dungeons and Dragons from the beginning was establishing a secular canon, a group of books, right, that secular people who did not believe in a supernatural power and were not under the wrath of a particular, deity, and were just under their own wisdom, their own courage, their own imagination. It is a secular text written by someone, and they can use that to improve, transform, and secure, in my humble opinion. And that was done in 1974. And all BOMT is, all Book of Many Things, all the Deck of Many Things is a sound reminder of what Dungeons and Dragons has always done, right? It takes a sacred thing, makes it secular, and has it do everything but one thing that sacred thing did, right? Now, I do think, the Holy Bible, it will improve, transform, and save, right? Dungeons and Dragons will improve, transform, and secure. It cannot save you. And Deck of Many Things is literally just an echo of this. It's doing it again. It's taking a sacred object and turning it into a secular object, and rather than do divination, it does inspiration and aspiration. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.